Hi everyone, I'm so glad you could join me for today's bake along. I'm making a drop cookie, which, you know, when you need a cookie in the middle of the week, this hits the spot. These are my lemon twinkle cookies. So it's a simple handmade dough, and after you portion these tart lemony cookies, you roll them in sanding sugar, and that's what gives them the twinkle, that nice little sparkle. So stay with me while I make my lemon twinkle cookies. These lemon cookies are really very much just like a classic sugar cookie, crispy on the outside, chewy in the center, but they've got a nice tart punch of lemon to them. So, typical to a drop cookie that you drop from a spoon and then onto the pan, you can make this by hand. So I've got my softened butter here, I'm just smoothing it out for a second. And I find to get that right consistency, where normally with a chocolate chip cookie or an oatmeal cookie, you use a combination of granulated and brown sugar. I find for this cookie recipe, I like a combination of granulated and icing sugar, because I want to keep these light and lemony looking. So brown sugar would not be the right fit. And I'll just take a second to combine the two together, hopefully without making too much of a mess. No guarantees. Before I get too much further, now is a great opportunity for me to add my lemon zest. That way, as I finish mixing the butter and sugar together, it'll draw out the oils from the lemon. Smells good already. Okay, now it's time for 2 egg yolks. I found when I used a whole egg instead of 2 egg yolks, I got too much lift and set, and the cookie ended up being too crispy, which wasn't what I was after. I wanted it crispy on the edges, but soft in the center. I like to add this lemon twinkle cookie to my holiday cookie tin when I'm doing a collection. So if I'm doing my chocolate crinkles and my gingerbread crinkles, to add a little lemon twinkle kind of breaks it up a little bit. Nice mix. Okay, so I've got the butter, the sugar, vanilla, egg yolks in there. Now it's time to add my lemon juice. And now what can happen so often is if you add the lemon juice now, you'll find the butter starts separating, the batter starts to curdle. It's not problematic in a cookie recipe like this. If you were making a cake, you definitely wouldn't want that to happen. So a good habit to get into is measure out your flour before you start, and then you can add a couple tablespoons up to half a cup before you start adding your lemon juice, and that will stabilize the batter so you don't get the curdling. So I don't reserve this just for lemon desserts or desserts that have lemon juice in them. Sometimes it just happens by the nature of a batter, it can start to curdle, and your fix is to add some of the flour. So I've got a nice smooth batter now. And I can add my 3 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. It really does give these cookies a nice, snappy, tart lemon taste. Okay, and now that the juice is worked in, it's time for my secret ingredient. Well, not so secret now. And it's not that every recipe I make has a secret ingredient, but for this cookie to be nice and dense yet tender in the center, I find melting 2 ounces of white chocolate makes a huge difference. You can just pop it in the microwave, low heat when you melt white chocolate, give it a stir now and again, and set it aside. So do this first, set it aside to cool while you prepare your other ingredients. But you'll find in this recipe, you don't taste the white chocolate. You don't even know it's there. It's what it contributes to the texture that really counts. And it also helps to smooth out this batter now. Okay, now it's time for the dry ingredients, my remaining flour. And I do like to sift it in just to combine it with everything else, because I've got my cornstarch, which if you have seen my chocolate chip cookie recipe, that is my secret to a chocolate chip cookie recipe with a nice soft chewy center. So there is no harm in adding it here. A little combination of baking powder, baking soda. Whew. And just stir that in carefully. All right, when you no longer see flour, you know you are ready to start scooping your cookies. So I'll just set this aside. I've prepared my 2 baking trays, and I have my number 40 scoop ready. Or you can use 2 spoons if you wish. Now the first thing I'm going to do is portion all the cookies. I'll scoop them all, and then I'm going to roll them in sanding sugar or decorator's sugar. So let me scoop these out first. A great little make-ahead tip for you If you want to make and freeze these cookies unbaked, you could portion them. You could put them close together on a plate, chill them down in the fridge completely, so give them about 2 hours, then just pack them in a container to then thaw to room temperature before you bake them when it's convenient for you. Good if you are thinking about doing some holiday baking. Now, the final step. When you're making a crinkle cookie, you roll your portion cookies in lots of icing sugar, and then as they bake, the crinkles and crackles show through. But as a contrast, I want to make these twinkle cookies. I want them to sparkle. So this is why I'm using decorator sugar here. You could, if you don't have access to decorator sugar, of course, granulated sugar accomplishes the same thing. You just get a bit more of a sparkle from these coarse grains. And you just roll each cookie in the sugar to cover it completely. Now you know why you need that extra bit of lemon juice in there. It balances with the sweetness of the cookie. Right. These are ready for the oven. I've preheated it to 325, so it takes a gentle heat, and they take between 12 and 14 minutes. What you won't see with these cookies is browning on the surface. So to check the doneness, I like to take a spatula, lift underneath. If I see a little light brown starting, then I know they're cooked through. The cookies are about ready to come out of the oven. So this is a last move to really set that chewy center to your cookies. I did say they were almost ready. There we go. As soon as you pull the cookies out of the oven, you want to gently smack the tray down and it collapses the cookies. These really do puff up when they bake. You'll see. And they're just so sparkly. Now I don't want to break that. I'll move it out of the way. So now just a quick, and immediately they whoop, contract. Good thing I have another tray to show you. So compare the difference. You've got them flat and then nice and puffy and just appetizing either way. There we go. And then you want to let these cool on the tray. They're a bit fragile. Well, let's see. They're a touch fragile, but not, yeah, they're still a bit soft right now. Oh, look at that crackle, yet they sparkle because of the decorator sugar on the outside. These are such a lovely cookie. If you are making a holiday cookie tin, you could cut the size in half and make beautiful little dainty ones. You could even sandwich them with a lemon curd filling, or some lemon ice cream if you want to make ice cream sandwiches. There's so much you can do with these cookie recipes. There, even after a couple seconds, they cool down a bit. Whoa, that's a bit too fragile. So yes, how about we follow my own instructions, and that's to let them cool before you take them off the tray. Now you've seen what happens when you do it, but you know what? That means that's gonna be my little taste to eat. These look so special, and you know I love my lemon desserts. I hope you'll give these recipes a try and take a little twist on a crinkle cookie and make a lemon twinkle. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again for another delicious recipe. Hot, hot, hot. That lemon juice just brightens these cookies up.